Welcome to the Michelle Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, what's up? Holla at your boy. This is Len, aka the Bat Tribble.
And on this stop
on
the mission, while we all have black superheroes on the mind.
Oh, yes, we do.
As we are in the era of Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2.
Wakanda Forever!
We take a stop and visit with one of the earlier entrees into cinematic black superhero-dom. 1992's Blankman.
1994, I believe.
Is it 94?
1994.
1994's Blankman with Damon, Wayans, David Allen Grier. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one, folks. And Robin Givens. The choice of Lynn Webb. I'm very much looking forward to this.
I am too.
But before we get into it, how are you, Lynn? How are you this evening?
Well, I'm doing fine.
Okay.
As anyone who knows me intimately knows that, or may have guessed, that it's been a little bit of a rough week for me because this past week, Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, passed away at the age of 66. Kevin Conroy was the voice of Batman in the critically acclaimed historic Batman the Animated series from the 90s, and then would go on to voice Batman in almost every iteration of Batman after that, on Justice League Unlimited, in animated movies, in video games, in specials.
He played a live version once.
He even played a live version of an elderly Batman in the CW universe crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yes, he did.
He probably only Adam West is more synonymous with the role of Batman than Kevin Conroy.
Absolutely. And I would argue as time goes on.
Yeah. Kevin Conroy is probably
right.
Like more seared in people's minds.
Yeah, there are at least 2 generations of people that would go to Kevin Conroy before they would Adam West.
That's very true. And I'm someone who grew up with having, the Adam West Batman, but I also did have an animated Batman.
Sure.
Right. Who wasn't a bad voice actor. I think his name was Olin Soul. Was the gentleman's name, and he wasn't bad, for what he was. You're about to clown me because I knew the man's name.
I love the fact that you know the name of the voice actor from the Batman cartoon from Filmation.
Well, yes, even though when the series came back in the 70s, Adam West and Burt Ward took over.
I was about to say
the voices.
I knew you.
At that point.
All right, pull up.
I've always had.
All right,
I've had an animated Batman,
but stick to
like everyone else, when Kevin Conroy took the role and premiered in Batman the Animated Series. It was the Batman. It was really the first time that the Batman historically from the comic books, as he has been known, the Dark Avenger, was really given voice in animated form.
Sure. Because
the Batman of Adam West was the more campy 60s Batman, and Adam West pretty much played that all the time. This was really the Batman that everybody fell in love with. The Dark Knight Detective of Neil Adams' illustration, of Frank Miller, even going back to the original creation of Batman. He was a dark creature, and that's what Kevin Conroy captured in that voice. and he was a tremendous talent. He gave the voice for Batman in many people's minds. He gave the voice for Bruce Wayne in many people's minds as well, as he developed two voices for both. He was a very thoughtful man, extremely talented man. Batman sings famously on an episode. And it is Kevin Conroy, who was a bit of a, like to go into a lounge and sing a couple of tunes. So this was a love of his. And he was just a really interesting man. The more you got to know him, as his confidence grew with his fame and with his stature, so did it start to glow in his personal life, and he made a little bits of his personal life open to the public, and people were very receptive and appreciative of that. And that's why his passing hit people so hard. And it hit me very hard, and really sad to see him go. I knew that he had been suffering for the past couple of years. But it's almost like it reminds me when Mel Blanc passed away years ago.
Absolutely.
And that was the voice of all of the Warner Brothers cartoons, so many of them. And this is the voice of of easily the most popular superhero right now. And he's the man who gave him that voice. So it really is a hard loss, right?
And as you said, in a lot of ways, he was an ambassador for the culture. Like he, in a lot of ways, he transcended geekdom and nerddom, and he carried himself with such dignity, and as you said, such thoughtfulness. I think you alluded to it a moment ago. I was so impressed, and I admired his transparency. When I believe it was last year during Pride Month, he shared a very touching coming out story. In DC publishes comic every year. And just when we talk about inclusivity in the culture, when we talk about fan culture and the challenges that you have, I think I thought it was really remarkable that Kevin Conroy publicly stated that a gay man was the voice of who all of us agree is the voice of Batman. And he'll be missed. Absolutely be missed. It seems like cold comfort. It's sort of the cold comfort that we've had over the past week or so, just thinking about the dearly departed Chadwick Boseman. But the art is forever. The art is forever. And certainly, as you said, he contributed so much with his voice work that generations will be exposed to him. But it's a loss.
It is a loss. It is a loss. So our thoughts go out to Kevin Conroy's family and all of those, his family and his friends at this time. This past week also saw the closing of another curtain, Vincent, as the venerable TV show Atlanta celebrated its series finale.
Yes, it did.
And I know this probably was a hard one for you.
It
you
was.
a huge fan of Atlanta.
I really have been. I've been so amazed by Donald Glover and his whole team. And certainly the cast: Brian Tyree Henry, Zazie Beetz, Lakeith Stanfield, and Donald Glover in an acting role. But then the talent behind the camera, from the writing, the directing, the cinematography. It has been a joy to behold the Black excellence and the Black art, the unapologetically Black art that Donald Glover and his team created over these past seasons. And the episode that served as the series finale was very much an Atlanta episode.
It was every bit of an Atlanta episode. And, you know, because I caught up on the show.
Right.
And what I think was also pretty brave of them is for this show to go out with an episode that focuses very heavily on probably the one member of the like core four who we knew the least about.
Right.
It waits all the way to the last episode to finally give you some a peek behind the curtain of Darius as played by Lakeith Stansfield.
Yeah.
You know, and that's brave considering that, you know, Donald Glover's the big name, and then, you know, there's certainly the big presence of Paperboy,
right,
Brian Tyree Henry, and they had spent a couple of episodes, you know, digging into Ern and Vanessa's relationship, and we definitely spent an episode with Vanessa. Quite an interesting episode in France with Vanessa.
Right. Oh, and in America with Mr. Chocolate.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So it was very, you know, strange. I gotta say, like, I was like, wait a minute, we're going to spend this time with him.
Yeah,
you know, and especially because how Darius lives his life, he pretty much just lives and just goes from beat to beat to beat.
Right.
But it worked.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I always found Darius to be most representative of the show.
Well, yeah.
Like Darius was a character that had a foot firmly in the real world. But at the same time, from the very first moment we saw him, there was something a little surreal.
Yes.
About Darius. Like one of my favorite images from the entire run of the show is the very first time we meet him, where he has the handkerchief around his face and he's holding a knife.
Oh yeah,
and a plate of cookies.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
when Ern comes into the house. I mean, that's in a lot of ways you have to go out with him, and I love. You know, I don't want to give it away for people who haven't seen the episode.
Farrell Blackwell's in the chat saying he hasn't watched the last episode yet.
But I love the implication. I'll just say this, that retroactively, potentially, Darius was the most important character of all.
How about
and I'll
that?
leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. I don't know whether or not we talked about this here on the show or just between us, but I know that I had a conversation with you, and I probably had a conversation with a couple other people as well about does Atlanta have the opportunity to become the black man's Seinfeld, being that it's a show that it's about something because it's about these people's relationships, but often the episodes can go wherever.
Right.
And even in dealing with these core four leads in the show, sometimes the episodes still can have a bit of a wayward feel about them, like they're just kind of like trying to find their way, you know.
Right.
Much like Seinfeld was famously about a show about nothing. And I think that I have landed on this does have the opportunity to do so, because despite some pop cultural references, then they don't lean on them by any way, by any means for the comedy in the show. I don't think so. Maybe one or two times. But for the most part, a lot of these episodes, even a lot of these seasons feel evergreen, and you can return to them because at the core, it is about the characters. It is about them learning how to occupy the spaces in which they are growing into.
Right.
You know, because there is definitely, even in Darius, there is growth from that first episode all the way to the last episode. They are changed individuals, and you can't say that about Seinfeld.
No, and I think, first of all, I agree that the one thing that they have in common is I do think they're both evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think you can just keep watching, and I think there are a lot of shows, a lot of good shows that are like that. But I always felt like Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld unapologetically were making a sitcom.
Yes.
They kind of deconstructed it. They kind of played with it. But at the end of the day, we are making a sitcom.
Yes. Agreed.
And I think from the very beginning, Donald Glover had higher, or I'll say different aspirations.
I think he developed different aspirations.
I think it's there from the very beginning.
I think he's kind of deconstructing the sitcom a little bit in the beginning.
I think Donald Glover was trying to do something artful from the very first episode. I mean, I really do think he was, and I'm trying to think of a good equivalent of a television show that from the very first episode, you can tell the creators were like, I'm trying to do something here that people are going to talk about from now on in different places and different locations. The only thing that's popping up in my mind is something like The Prisoner.
Okay.
Where from the very first shot,
are you talking about The Prisoner, the old
television
series?
show? Right.
Okay.
Where I think Donald Glover was really trying to make an art piece. And it sounds sort of pretentious. But sort of following his interviews and listening to him from the very beginning, I really do think he and his brother were trying to do something that was like almost an installation, an art installation.
Well, I think we're landing on the same place. I don't necessarily know whether or not I agree that was what the show was from the beginning, because I think that he began deconstructing the sitcom as it was at that time, because it had already gone through a couple of iterations and people had been picking at it, and I think he was playing with that, and then in pulling back the layers, he found that, especially as the show was garnering success,
right,
and the critical success.
I was about to say critical and a bit of commercial success.
A little bit of commercial success, but I have a funny feeling that he's the type of guy where the critical success is what is going to like really fuel him,
right?
Because he knows that he's got them in his in his pocket.
He was going for,
and once he got that, then he realized, like, oh, okay, so now I can play a little bit more, and there the floodgates open to what this can be. You know what I mean? But either way, you're right. It landed on a place of sheer beauty. It was really first of all, I want to say right now that while I would have finished this show eventually, I want to thank you, because you are the one that like really spurred me on to like really like, yo, Len, you really need to be checking this out. And I checked it out, and I will say, wow, there are a lot of great episodes on here. You're right, though. The satire about Disney and the Goofy movie is one of the most scathing, hilarious pieces of media I have seen in a long, long time.
And as a Disney guy, I'm not going to say more of it. Well, more of that episode is based on truth than you would think.
I know.
Like that interview where the guy says Goofy is like a silly colored kid. That is a verbatim interview.
Yeah.
So, So sad to see it go. Glad we can always revisit it.
I am too.
Looking forward to see what Donald Glover is going to do next. I cannot believe that he held that cast together for this long.
Well, you know what?
Because I just knew, like, how did this not fall apart with all four of them being stars?
You know, yes, they all are stars. But here's the difference is, especially, I shouldn't say especially, but I think it is more so true with a Black performer, right? When you all get a taste of stardom, but you can all trace it back to the same event.
Okay.
Then there is an appreciation for that, right?
Right.
And especially if that event is something that you can look back on and be proud of. It's not just that the show blew up and it's like, oh yeah, we were on this good, okay show.
Right.
We were actually doing something.
Right. I wasn't one of the cast members in the first season of Welcome Back, Carter.
Right.
And then I went and made a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's and you have an appreciation for that. You know what I mean? And let's also remember that in the world in which we live, while they were a part of this show, this is a show that was doing 10 episodes a season.
Right.
This one wasn't back in the day when your whole year was blocked out because you were doing 22, 24 episodes a season.
That's true.
And then maybe you had 3 months of the summer to do a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a totally different feel, totally different vibe. And then once the accolades come for the show, then they can pretty much write their own ticket and set their own schedule.
Then there's that. Where you can have a whole year take place in Europe and everyone doesn't have to be in the same episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're able to make it work.
Yeah.
So that was dope. I'm really, very happy for that. Farrell Blackwell is mentioning, I think the cast was able to stick together because they came in as underdogs. There was only really one star, Donald Glover, in the beginning. That's very true.
Absolutely.
And Farrell Blackwell also mentioned that for him, Atlanta was a hood version of the Cosby Show that did shrooms.
Well,
no. Well, I'm not going to go there. I don't think that.
It was it definitely seems like maybe it was some mind altering.
There were mind altering
substances involved.
Yes.
At some point with some of the people.
Yes. Some of them were involved in another very hilarious episode.
How about that?
of the show. So actually a couple episodes they had some mind altering.
Yeah.
So there you go. So there is Atlanta, ladies and gentlemen, our Atlanta talk. We also want to give you a heads up, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a little bit of bad news for you, but it's also good news for you. And let me explain. Vincent and I are reviewing Blankman tonight, but I know a lot of people are eagerly awaiting to hear what Vincent and I think of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And we're going to share a couple of thoughts and talk about that film a little bit right now. But if you're waiting for our review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, wait no more. Because the review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the Michaud Mission review, is available now where podcasts be, including the Michaud Mission feed. Vincent and I were so excited from watching this film. Coming out of this film, we each have seen the film. We saw the film together, and then we saw it each with our families. We were so excited that we could not even wait to get before the cameras to do the review. So we sat down without the cameras on and just boom, knocked out a review so that we could get it out there in the feed this week. So if you go to the Michaud Mission feed, or if you're a subscriber to the Michaud Mission, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, you will see that the Michaud Mission review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is right there for your listening pleasure. Spoiler alert, we go in on the film. So yes, we are spoiling it. So if you haven't seen it, you don't want to listen to it just yet.
It's completely spoiled.
Yes. Now, we are going to share some thoughts about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever right now. and we will try to avoid any spoilers that are not given away in the trailer.
Right. So we won't mention the fact that the multiverse variant of Rhodey, played by Terrence Howard, shows up.
No.
We won't talk about
Vincent,
that part. I'm sorry.
Vincent.
I'm sorry. And he says, I'm Iron Man.
See,
I know.
We promised that there was not going to be any spoilers.
We did, and okay? I did. All right, so forget the part about Terrence Howard showing up.
Forget the part about Terrence Howard showing up. That you didn't hear that. You didn't erase that from your brain. We'll see if we can cut that out of the podcast.
We also won't talk about the fact that the sister that played Glory, the black secretary in the Spider-Man live action show from 1982, shows up.
Vincent.
Okay, I shouldn't mention that part.
No, you don't want to mention that part.
I don't want to mention that part.
Gosh, man, what are you doing?
I'm sorry. My bad.
Man, why don't you just tell him that? How about DC sold Black Lightning to Marvel so that he could show up in Wakanda?
He shows up too.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You didn't hear that.
I'm sorry.
You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that. Okay.
I'm sorry. No more though.
No more.
No more.
No more. So Vince.
Yes.
People are like, what the hell are these guys doing? So Vincent, we saw what Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
We did indeed.
Right?
We did indeed.
I think we can both agree that this was a rousing success.
It was.
$180 million.
$180 million
domestically, $330 million worldwide.
Right.
That's opening weekend.
I think you have to say that part too, because that money spins too.
That's true. That's very true. It's very true. What are your takeaways from spoiler free takeaways from Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
I am amazingly impressed by how Ryan Coogler was able to pull all of this together.
Talk about keeping the cast together.
Exactly. I think anytime you have one of these Marvel films, which at this point they're a genre onto itself.
Yep. This is the 30th Marvel Cinematic Universe film.
And a director is able to carve out his own vision within this machine. It should be applauded.
Yes.
Ryan Coogler obviously did it with the first Black Panther, so he had a template. But considering all of the immense pressure to follow up that, and then with the passing of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? I thought it was dealt with eloquently.
Yes.
I thought it was dealt with in a surprisingly mature manner. Like in a film about underwater people and fake metal and unbreakable spears. It is a surprisingly mature film.
It is.
I think it's a lot of joy.
Yeah.
I think that the acting is superb. The design work is ridiculous.
Yeah, Ruth Carter puts her thing down, man.
I shared with Lynn. I had a little nerd rage. Part of my nerd collecting is I do collect the specialized action figures. Like I collect the Marvel Legends.
You're right.
And I was very much looking forward to buying the Namor figure, assuming it would have the headdress that he wears.
Yes.
And then the figure apparently is not going to have the headdress. So literally before we went live, I was telling Lynn how I was pissed about that.
I know.
Because the designs, the costumes, are ridiculous. Ruth Carter is a genius.
I read an article with her, interview with her, where she talks about how she had to have people get into the waters with the designs, with the outfits, so she could see how they would react under the water. So then she had to figure out, how to weight the particular like armaments and headdress that you see down there, so that they would move exactly how she wanted, and they would sit exactly how she wanted.
I'm learning about that in real time right now. That is insane.
I know, man. I know. I know.
Give
Because
Ruth Carter all the flowers.
any other movie would have just said, "Oh, we'll do it in post.
We'll CGI it."
Yeah, don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Right. Yeah. You talked about how mature this film is. It is very mature, especially considering Ryan Coogler takes the passing of Chadwick Boseman, I think, very smartly and intelligently weaves it into the fabric of the movie.
Yeah.
By not messing around with it, like taking you there.
Okay.
Almost literally returning you to that moment.
Easy.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's all. That's all. And then using that as a fulcrum upon which to turn his story.
Yeah.
Because the story turns on everyone, and it literally is everyone. All of the people in Wakanda, and even Namor and his people, all of them learning how to deal with loss. Deal with grief.
Yeah.
And their reactions to it, because that's what this movie is very much about, that as well. As much as it is about, where Wakanda stands in the greater context of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all that type of stuff. But I thought that was just done expertly. I think that the casting is amazing because, all of the people from Wakanda were already set.
Yeah.
You're already feeling them, and they feel even more lived into their roles. Letitia Wright, is she is the lead for this movie, and I think she wears it very well. She wears that mantle very well. No one can say enough about Angela Bassett, except goddamn Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett, man.
Angela Bassett will she is going to, first of all, Angela Bassett is going to floor you, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen it, I see there are a few people in the chat who haven't seen the film yet. I don't know what you're waiting for. She is going to floor you. And then you're going to wake up and you're going to say, where am I? And then you're going to see Angela Bassett's shoulders. And you are going to pass out again. You are going to pass out again at her shoulders. And then you're going to realize that this is a woman in her 60s.
Angela Bassett is not here to play with y'all.
And you will drop yet a third time.
Yeah.
Because she is a beast.
Angela Bassett is not a game.
You can tell this movie, if there was any doubt, this movie shows that the prototype for the Dora Milaje was the Queen. That is the prototype for the Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
Yes. And the casting even goes to the two new entries into Marvel Cinematic Universe. We mentioned Namor, cast by Tina Hirata, who I think does a fabulous job giving you a more rounded, more grounded, a more realistic, a more authentic Namor that is still true to the character from the comics, but is a better character than what we see in the comics.
It's such a fascinating story.
It is. It really is. And then Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams. Man,
go on, Dominique Thorne.
Okay, Dominique.
She got a little show coming on.
Looking
forward to that.
She's a little bit of the comic relief in this movie, and it's funny. I'm not going to talk about Lupita Nyong'o because I might melt if I talk about Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lupita Nyong'o is always Lupita Nyong'o.
Mm-hmm. Nakia, Lord.
I said it on the review, and I'll say this: there's a moment where she's supposed to be undercover.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Which I think is the most ridiculous moment in cinematic history.
I know.
Lupita Nyong'o in a little sundress, trying to be low key.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing?
I know.
Every eye in a 5-mile radius is on you.
Mm.
But
Well,
she was wearing glasses.
She was wearing glasses.
So she was in disguise.
She was in disguise.
Yeah.
They weren't sure.
Yeah.
They were. She looks like the glasses. They're throwing me off. They're throwing me off. I can't be sure.
I don't know who that vision is walking in front of me, but since she has glasses on, I guess I shouldn't pay attention to her. Obviously, she's unassuming.
The other thing I will say about this film, because there was mention before the film came out about the runtime, that it is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yes, it is.
I have to be honest. I saw this film twice.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it at all.
No.
I don't feel the runtime at all.
No, you don't. It there's a lot going on.
There's a lot of story.
But there's not any downtime.
No.
Yeah.
No. And the downtime goes pretty quick, because I think the downtime is probably the part that we talked about in the trailer that you could have cut.
Right.
Could have done without.
Right.
It's fine that it's there without it. But that is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Check out the full review.
The full review
is available now wherever you get podcasts. The Show Mission review of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Check it out.
Where you found this one.
There you go.
All right.
So let's see what's next on our agenda, Vincent. We got that. We've got that. You know what? I think the next thing we have here on the docket, guess what it is?
Is it time for the top 5?
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I give Vincent a top 5 list of my creation, and then he comments on it.
Yes.
And tonight's top 5 is going hand in hand with the release of Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
And our review of Blankman. All right. So tonight's top 5, Vincent.
Okay.
Is the top 5 Black superheroes.
Okay.
Worse than Blankman.
5 Black superheroes worse than Blankman.
To put it another way, 5 Black superheroes that I believe Blankman could beat.
That Blankman could beat.
Yes.
Okay. 5 of them.
5.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go. Starting with number 5.
Number 5.
Black Vulcan. From the Super Friends animated series of the 70s fame. Black Vulcan, who was a African-American lightning-powered superhero.
Yes.
Who was created just for the show.
Yes.
Just so Hanna-Barbera and DC Comics didn't have to pay the creators of Black Lightning.
That's right.
For using their character.
That's right.
In the show.
And the creator of Black Lightning's name is
Tony
Isabella.
That's
right.
Tony Isabella.
That is right.
Yes. An Italian man, before you Google him. Yes. He was solely created.
Yes.
Just so that he didn't have to pay for Black Lightning.
The comic book embodiment of a dick move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, and because he is a walking dick move,
yeah,
I believe that Blankman could defeat him.
I 100% agree with you. Furthermore, you gave him more respect than he deserved by showing the picture from the waist up.
Oh yeah.
So you don't see
his tidy whities,
the unitard that
he has on.
They didn't get that Black man pants.
I know. They did not.
Yes.
So that's number 5.
Number 5.
So you agree Blankman could take him.
I 100% agree.
All right. Number 4.
Number 4.
Hammerman. Hammer, who was Stanley, what was his last name? Stanley.
I actually don't. I don't
Stanley
know
Jackson.
I don't know. I don't know MC Hammer's government.
I believe his real name was.
I know you better stay real respectful though.
Why? Stanley Burrell.
Okay.
Stanley Burrell, who would don his magic shoes,
Yes.
dancing shoes,
Yes.
and turn into Hammerman, 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 Hammerman. Now, if there's any doubt that Blankman
Yeah.
could beat Hammerman,
Okay.
I turned to a review of the Hammerman cartoon show.
Okay.
It was a Saturday morning cartoon.
I've never seen an episode.
Really?
I've never seen an episode.
I'm pretty sure I've seen at least one episode. I turned to a review of the show by Entertainment Weekly journalist Dalton Ross.
Okay, and Mr. Ross says,
who listed Hammerman on a top 5 list of his own.
Okay.
Hammerman landed at the top of his list of the top 5 most ridiculous things to be turned into a Saturday morning cartoon.
Okay.
And said about the show, when it comes to idiotic adaptations, you can't touch this.
I see what he did there. Yeah.
Yes. So Hammerman, Blankman could definitely beat Hammerman.
But with all due respect to the actual MC Hammer, who we would never be disrespectful to, because you've never heard any of the stories of MC, like the real stories about MC Hammer.
Oh, well, like the MC Hammer was really like a thug.
No, ain't nobody using the T word.
Okay, what word are we using?
We're using the speak about him respectfully word. But the cartoon, yes.
I ain't worried about no Hammer.
Okay, all right, easy.
I ain't worried about a Hammer.
All right, easy.
I'm not.
At some point, we're trying to get back to the West Coast. Go ahead.
You think?
Moving on.
Is Neil Drumming's friends with Hammer?
Would you?
Sorry. I have to edit that out. Anyway, number 3. Steel.
I really hoped Steel would show up on
Warner Brothers. Now,
yes.
Not Steel from the comics.
No, this isn't Steel from the comics.
This is not Steel from the comics. I'm not going to go that far.
No,
because that Steel was, he was okay. John Henry Irons in the comic books was okay.
No. This is Shaq Steel.
Shaq Steel, the 7'3"
I'm a weapons
designer who most profound weapon was a hammer. I think Blankman, who created a transistor belt radio.
Yes, he did.
Out of a box of secrets.
Yes, he did.
Could take Steel.
I think he could.
I think he could undo Steel in a heartbeat.
Right.
All right. So that's number 3.
Number
2. Mal Duncan.
You leave Mal Duncan alone. I love Mal.
Mal Duncan, famously from DC Comics, but has been portrayed in animation.
Yes.
On Young Justice.
Yes.
He was basically the sidekick to the Teen Titans.
He was a black guy. He had the power of being a black guy.
You know what he was? He was the original, the other guy.
He was a black guy.
That's what he was. He was the Teen Titans were Robin, Aqualad, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, Speedy, and Mal Duncan.
He was the black guy. It was the 70s. They were being relevant.
But then they said, "Oh, we got to give him a power.
Oh, don't do this.
We got to do something
Duncan.
for him."
I don't like this.
So then, first, Mal Duncan finds an old shield.
Right.
He finds an old gold shield.
Right. Laying around.
Just laying around.
Kind of like
in the
Fat
attic.
Albert in the Cosby Kid. Hey, what's that over there in the junkyard?
Shield that I found in the junkyard. Next thing you know, he's rolling around as the Guardian.
That's right. He gets
a reinterpretation of a 1940s superhero.
I was going to say he got the hand-me-down costume.
He got the hand-me-down costume. He got the hand-me-down shield.
This is all 100% true, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, that's not a bad idea, even though the
Right.
shield was kind of whack. It looked like a police badge.
Right,
So
right.
I really, and his garb looked kind of like a police
Right.
uniform.
But-
So he was really running around like a black cop.
But we can do better than that.
No, we can
Because
do
what was his next power?
we can do better than that. He loses the shield,
Loses a shield.
but don't feel bad for him because he trips over Gabriel's horn.
He finds a magic horn.
He finds Puff the magic horn
Yeah.
and then becomes, wait for it, the horn blower.
The horn blower. Again, this is all 100% accurate.
100% true.
Yeah.
He becomes the horn blower
Yes, he does.
who can blow his horn
Blow his horn.
and sing a song.
And
I mean, I think it opened like spatial
Space-
warps
they
or something
never-
like.
You know what?
It was very.
You know what? They didn't even care enough to really define.
They didn't. The horn was a MacGuffin. It was just something
It
that he
was-
could roll around because he never really used it.
Someone told editorial, you cannot just have a black guy running around as the black guy,
Yes,
which is what Mal was.
which is all he was.
yeah.
Which is all he
You
was.
leave Mal. I have a soft spot for Mal.
Mhm.
1972 black characters in DC.
I don't. That's why he's number 2.
Number 2. Well, who's worse than Mal?
I'll tell you who's worse than Mal.
All right.
Meteor
Oh,
Man.
Okay, don't. I thought we didn't use the M word anymore.
We're not reviewing it.
Okay.
We're just bringing him. We're putting him in his proper context.
Okay.
Now, the reason why Meteor Man, I believe Blankman could take him. One, despite having powers,
Yes.
Meteor Man still has to roll around in a padded suit.
Yes, he does.
Why do you need a padded suit if you have powers?
Right. True.
Plus, while he has powers, he doesn't even know how to use his powers.
It's just sort of a greatest American hero situation going on.
Yes. Say what you will about Blankman, and we'll have plenty to say in our upcoming review. Blankman knows how to use all of his
That is
equipment.
very true. He is very much in control of the technology. Like he's a DIY guy.
Yes.
And he knows his stuff.
He
That is
knows
very
what
true.
to do.
That's true.
So because of that, he is not only a better hero than Meteor Man, I believe
He could take Meteor Man.
he could take
he had
Meteor
to.
if he had to.
You know what? I'll go along with that.
He could take Meteor Man.
I'll go along with that because Meteor Man doesn't really pull it together
He never.
through the entire film. That's true.
So that is my top 5 black superheroes that Blankman
That
could
Blank
take.
Man could take. All right.
What do you
Well
feel about
done.
that list?
Well done. I don't really like the Mal thing.
Come on, Vince.
I have a soft spot for Mal.
You just got a soft spot for him because he's in that gorgeous The Other Side of DC
I
history
know. I
book.
wasn't even going to bring that
But
up.
mind you,
You've already
he's
nerded
only
up a
really
little
in
bit
there
with
because of
Kevin
his girl,
Conroy.
because of his girlfriend / wife Bumblebee.
I love the fact that you're nerding it up right now. Nah.
Well, look,
Yeah.
we started nerdy with Kevin Conroy.
Well, that's why I wasn't going to go too far into the Mal stuff. Right. But yes. Well done.
All right.
All right.
Next up, ladies and gentlemen, as we keep rolling along, it's time for the Game of Kings.
That's right.
That's the key. Why you would be surprised what a person can do with just a sense of touch and a sense of sound.
6 Degrees of Derville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where Vincent and I will. Well, I won't do anything. I'm actually going to give Vincent
Right.
2 actors,
Yes.
and Vincent is going to try to get to those actors in 6 movies or less,
6 movies or less.
connecting them to
The ultimate black superhero,
Derville Martin.
Derville Martin.
That's right.
All right. I'm glad you didn't put Dolomite on there because, I guess Dolomite could count as a superhero.
I guess he
I mean,
could.
he's a human tornado.
I guess he could, but Blankman ain't taking Dolomite.
He don't want no parts.
He don't want no parts of
He don't want
Dolomite.
no parts of the human tornado.
No.
All right.
And mind you, I didn't even go to Jim Kelly. Because to be fair,
To be fair.
while I'm not sure I don't think Blankman could take Jim Kelly.
Right. Because Jim Carrey probably take him to the car wash and have him fighting in soap.
Right. Now, however,
Uh-huh.
if it was Blankman and the other guy could take
The other guy could take
because he had a better drop kick.
He's been taking karate lessons. That's actually in the film.
He could teach
they
Jim
actually
Kelly.
set that up. That he said, "I'm going my way to karate." I said, "Ooh, that'll probably be important later." I jotted that down.
All right.
But who we got?
All right, Vincent. So in 6 movies or less, get from Derville Martin.
It's no theme. You just pick 2 schmoes.
Well,
You
no,
just picked 2 schmoes out of a book.
I didn't pick just 2 schmoes. Blankman takes place in 1994.
Okay.
So I looked at films from 1994
Okay.
and tried to find significant and leading actor and actresses.
Okay.
From
All right.
1994.
1994 is the year.
So do you want the actor or the actor?
Always ladies first.
Ladies first. In 6 movies or less, get to from Derville Martin
Derville Martin.
to Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what? I'll do that real quick
All right.
so that I get to the mister.
Okay.
Derville Martin is, of course, in 5 on the black hand side with Dick Anthony Williams, who, of course, is in Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington, who's in The Inside Man with Jodie Foster.
Oh, wow. I forgot all about the Inside Man.
Bingo, bango, boingo.
Well done, Vincent.
All right.
Well done. Knocked it out the box. Okay. Now we get to the actor.
Who was she in 94?
In 94, she was actually in.
That's not Contact year, is it?
No. Contact is 2000s.
It's Contact 2000s?
Oh, no, excuse me. You're right. It was close to that, but it was 97.
Okay.
In 94, she was in 2 films. She was in Nell, and the film you probably saw her in, well, I'm assuming you saw her in, was Maverick with Mel Gibson and James Garner.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that was very good, Vincent. Now
Okay.
you ready for the actor?
I am ready for the
In
actor.
6 films or less, get from Derville Martin
Martin
to
to
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Mhm.
Okay. How do I want to get to Nicolas Cage?
You tell me.
Okay. Nicolas Cage. All right. How do I want to get to Nicolas Cage? That is Nicolas Cage. How do I get to Nicolas Cage? Oh, can I get to Nicolas Cage like this? Who else is? Okay, this is how I'm going to get to Nicolas Cage.
Mhm.
Denzel Washington. Derville Martin is in. So I'm gonna take a long way.
Okay.
I don't want to take too long. I hope I don't take too. Okay, so Derville Martin, 5 on the black hand side. So Dick Anthony Williams to Denzel Washington again in Mo Better Blues. Denzel Washington is in Devil in a Blue Dress with
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Mhm.
Don Cheadle is in the remake of Ocean's 11 with George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney is in Oh Brother Where Art Thou with Roseanne, John
Goodman.
What's that? 5? Am I at 5?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because John Goodman is in Raising Arizona with Nicolas Cage.
Okay. All right. Raising Arizona. I just want to make sure.
Oh, take your time. I was because that's my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. It's my favorite Coen Brothers movie.
You are correct.
Oh yeah,
he is in there. All right, very good,
Yeah, I
Vincent.
was trying to get to Holly Hunter. I was like, oh no, John Goodman's in there too. But yeah,
Very
What's
good.
he in 94?
94. He's actually in 3 films in
Okay.
94. I'm not going to count he did a documentary as well, but I'm not going to count that.
Okay.
In 1994, Nicolas Cage is in Guarding Tess.
Okay. Good
with
movie.
Shirley MacLaine.
Yeah.
He's also in It Could Happen to You with your girlfriend Bridget Fonda.
Hey. Only in Jackie Brown.
And he is alongside John Lovitz and Dana Carvey in Trapped in Paradise,
Okay.
a Christmas film from
Okay.
that year.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. 94. Good year for both actors.
Very good year. Very good year. And very good, Vince. Well done.
All right.
Well done. All right. Okay. Well,
It's time.
it's time for us to get into our
All
review
right, let's get into it.
of Blankman.
Blankman.
But first, it's time for trailer talk.
All right.
This is where Vincent and I sit and talk about stuff that is going to be cut out of the podcast
All
because the
right.
trailer is going to play over this. And I waited for trailer talk for this announcement, even though we're going to be talking about it more fully next week, because hopefully we'll have a little bit of an update. We've kind of been hinting, Vincent and I, around over the past few weeks about a bunch of things that we have going on and that we plan to spring on you in 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Well, one of them looks like it is just about ready to pop. And we want to give you, our loyal missionaries out there who watch us on YouTube, first crack at this. The Michaud Mission is going to be doing a live show here in Philadelphia on January 21st at City Winery in Philadelphia. The Michaud Mission will be doing a live show and a movie screening.
Aha!
We're going to talk about a film and we're going to watch a film. We are waiting to hear back from the studio. We hope to get news back today, but it didn't come today, giving us the okay to screen this film at the event. But it is we are really jazzed for this.
Absolutely.
Tickets are actually going to go on sale for the event this Friday here in Philadelphia. It promises to be a good time. City Winery, you can go there and get your drink on, you can get your eat on, and then you can sit and watch me and Vince up on stage, do a talk back to a really cool movie. We worked long and hard to come up with a film that, one, we hadn't reviewed yet,
Right.
but one that we thought would fit the ambiance, the beauty of City Winery.
Right.
And we think we've really got a really special film.
Right. Keep it a little
For you.
sexy.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is sexy.
Yeah, keep it a little sexy.
It is sexy.
All right.
It is sexy. So the Michaud Mission is going to be live at City Winery here in Philadelphia, January 21st. Tickets go on sale this Friday, the 18th.
All right.
You can go to citywinery.com/Philadelphia. You'll see the Michaud Mission. You can buy tickets for our event. All right.
Right.
We'll have more updates.
More updates and
coming.
more details forthcoming.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right.
So we wanted to give you a shout out about that.
All right.
Okay. Okie dokie. Farrell Blackwell says he might need to find a flight back for this one.
Well, you got time to get one.
You got time, Farrell. You got time, Farrell. Sharon Eldridge says it's exciting. Oh my God. Yes, Sharon. Yes. This is going to be really dope. It's going to be real dope. All right. So there's that.
All right.
Let's just jump right into it.
All right.
Our review of Blankman.
Blankman, a 1994 superhero parody, directed by Mike Binder and starring Damon Wayans and David Allen Grier. After his grandmother is killed in a mafia hit, Daryl, played by Damon Wayans, fashions a bulletproof overcoat to wear over red long johns, becoming Blankman, a superhero without any superpowers, save some inventive tinkering skills. When Blankman's crime-fighting crusade causes a sensation around the city of Metro, Daryl's brother Kevin, played by David Allen Grier, reluctantly agrees to become Blankman's sidekick, Other Guy, to impress local news anchor Kimberly, played by Robin Givens.
Yes.
But the mob is fighting back. Directed by Michael Binder, written by Damon Wayans and because
J.F. Lawton.
And Jay, you got to give everybody Jeff,
Give them their flowers.
Yeah, give them their flowers. This was the choice of Lynn Webb. Lynn, how would you like to begin our conversation around 1994's Blankman?
Revisiting this film, you know, as we do a little bit of research behind the film.
Yes.
Right. So I was not surprised in, like, you know, going back over history of the movie, that this movie was considered a disappointment at the box office.
Yes.
Right. And I was not surprised that this movie seemingly has garnered mostly negative reviews over the years. It actually has a 12% rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with an average rating of 3.8 out of 10. So it's a film that doesn't seem to be held in high regard.
No.
Right? Which maybe makes sense because it is from 1994, and in 1994 this film, you'd say, is a superhero parody. Superhero films weren't what they are now,
Sure,
but they were still kind of like in the zeitgeist at that time because of the Superman films of the 70s and 80s, and of course the Batman movies.
I was about to say the Batman films,
even more recently. At that time, you know, people were looking for comic book movies. Blankman, not based on a comic book, but kind of like living in that world.
Right.
It also chooses, as opposed to doing a parody of the superhero films of the day, it is truly a parody of the superhero films of the 90s yesterday, specifically the 1966 iteration of the Batman TV show.
Sure, Batman 66.
Right.
Yeah.
This movie is in tone and also even in its production a swipe at that series,
right,
with its bold colors, with its Dutch angles, with, you know, Blankman being just this gosh shucks type of superhero, and having like this sidekick, this relationship with the cops, or the relationship he has in his mind with the police.
Right.
It's all a stab at that. So I wasn't surprised to relive that aspect of it. But what I was surprised upon watching Blankman is that how funny this movie is.
Wow.
I laughed genuinely out loud more than a few times watching Blankman.
Wow.
I enjoyed myself so much watching Blankman. And I think I did because, one, I definitely could live in the space. I can appreciate a parody of the Batman 66 because I'm Batman.
Right.
And I think it gets that spot on. And also looking at this film from a 21st century lens, you look at Damon Wayans' character of Daryl, and you are seeing him totally differently. In 1994, you're just seeing this guy who seems a little mixed up, you know, detached from reality, as it were.
Yes.
A 21st century lens, you're looking at this person who certainly seems to have some type of mental
Sure.
issues
Yeah, absolutely.
going on, but it's not. You could also say this man is a bit of a savant.
On the spectrum a bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because he is taking nothings and creating working instruments of justice.
Yeah.
They ain't the coolest looking things, but the thing I stand on is that everything this man creates, it works.
Yes.
He's not a dysfunctional superhero. He's not even necessarily a bumbling superhero, right? He has limitations, and those limitations are strictly because of who he is as a man. He's not a fighter, so he has absolutely no idea of how to fight.
Right.
He's an idealist, so you know, he therefore naively goes into the streets and goes into certain situations. But he's not scared when asked to deal with take on a task. He goes there. He's a little trepidatious about it because he knows that, oh my God, you know, this might go a little wrong, but he's going there. He's going to go and do his best. You know, he's very forthright. He is intelligent. He's not a dope. And he is actually very well depicted by Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans never ever steps out of the character.
He absolutely commits.
He lives in that character.
Yeah.
As does everyone in this film. They know exactly what film they are in. They are living in that world. They are having that fun, and they are playing their roles in that world as straight as that character would be played. Right? And in there is the comedy, and in there is where I was laughing my butt off. I enjoyed this movie so much. He says, like, you know, there's a moment where he invents, I mentioned it earlier, he mentions like a two-way walkie-talkie and a belt buckle.
Yeah.
And he calls his cousin.
Yeah.
At his job.
Right.
And his cousin, he's talking. He's like, and you just hear his voice. You got to talk into the buckle.
Yeah.
I howled. Just his line reading there.
It looked like he was
because it looks like he's talking to his jammy.
Right. So it's like a dick joke.
It's a bit of a dick joke. It is, but it's a smart dick joke.
Is it?
I think it's a smart dick joke.
Okay, two of us.
Especially when you consider that this is a Wayans.
Yes.
And one of our critiques of the Wayans films of his younger brothers have been that they have lived in the lowbrow and even actually found a lower bar than the lowbrow.
Right.
And I think that this movie, for the most part, while there are a couple of lowbrow moments, it doesn't live there at all. Not at all. I don't think. And I think that the moments that are there are true to the character, and they come out of the character being true. Like you talked about, there's a premature ejaculation joke that runs 3 times.
Yes.
But it works because
it works
because it's Daryl who famously is told, you know, you're a virgin.
Right. So when Robin character kisses him, right.
And when he starts spazzing, it was funny. Okay. It was funny physical humor. It was a delight. I found this movie just really refreshing.
Okay.
I laughed. I enjoyed Damon Wayans. David Allen Grier. Look, David Allen Grier has yet to be wrong in any movie that I've ever seen him in. He is just the glue that holds everything together. I think it's a shame that coming off of Boomerang, where he couldn't get Robin Givens or Halle Berry, then he shows up in this film and he again can't get Robin Givens.
Still can't get the girl.
He still can't get the girl.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, and if you can't get the girl over Blankman,
I know.
then, you know, I guess that's why he shaved his head.
Yeah.
But so he's good. Robin Givens, look, she's playing the female role.
Yeah.
I don't think she's bringing anything nuanced to the table at all.
She's a good sport.
She's a good sport. And admittedly, at this time in her career, she kind of has to be a good sport because she's on a little bit of reclamation road,
right,
from her life with Mike Tyson and how that all played out.
Right.
You got the actor John Paleta in here as the mobster.
Yes.
Always fun to see him. Is he giving the funniest lines? No. But Michael the Suit Minnelli, he's having fun. He's getting his penguin on. He's like the penguin
right.
in this film. Jason Alexander of Seinfeld fame, wearing a bald cap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little silly.
Ooh.
But when they capture him and they lock him up, and he's paralyzed, so he rolls around in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And they lock up and they hoist up his wheelchair so he can't roll away.
Oh,
I don't know. I thought that was funny.
You also thought that was funny.
I thought that was funny.
Handicap jokes.
But they don't. It's there, but they don't call attention to it. They don't mention it. It's just it's a sight gag.
The joke.
It's a sight, but it's a sight gag. In a lesser film, they would have had the sight gag, and then they would have called attention to the sight gag. They don't call attention to the sight gag. It's just there. You notice it if you do, you don't. You do, you don't. You don't. So it worked.
Okay.
And I laughed. I look. It's a silly movie. It's it's got a. Who's this guy that plays the mayor? Christopher Lawford.
You liked him too?
No, he's a $3 Ted Danson. Right. But he's what it is.
Doing so many things.
Considering
you liked it.
Considering that this script, the other thing you have to consider is that this script was originally written by J.F. Lawton.
Okay.
As a vehicle for Howard Stern. That he was actually going to portray the superhero that he did on his radio show called Fart Man.
Yeah.
So this was originally a Fart Man script.
Right. I can see how they easily adapted it from.
But it got reworked.
Oh, it got reworked
into a much more genteel.
Oh, yes.
And funny outing, which is Blankman.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
And you liked it. And I like when you like things. I really do. I am pleasantly surprised at the joy that this film brought you. And I mean that. I'm not even being smart. I really do like when you like things. Like I like joy in my friend's heart, because as we all know, you don't like many things. So I'm happy for you. Like, I'm happy that you enjoyed this. I did not. I did not enjoy this film at all. I think
at all.
Like at all. And part of the reason I didn't enjoy it is because I saw the potential of what apparently you saw realized.
Okay.
This as a parody of Batman 66, of these type of campy superhero depictions through the mind of someone that, as you said, in the 21st century, we would say he's a savant, he's on the spectrum. And I think with some effort, the film could have been situated in a way that the more heightened parts of reality, you could see it through, we're looking at it through his perspective. It doesn't do that. It never situates Blankman as our point of view character, so that we can say, okay, they're in the tank, he's trying to drown him, and he's wearing the ridiculous suits and all of this. We can't take this at face value. B, there's not one, there's not two, there are 3 deaths in this film where people are murdered, including their grandmother.
That's true.
Which is such a tonal whiplash in what is supposed to be a madcap film. Each time it took me completely out of it. And just as I start to give myself to the film again and say, okay, it's a romp, it's a farce, someone else gets actually murdered.
So it's the grandmother,
Jason Alexander's character, and the mayor.
Because it's the mayor first.
No, the grandmother is first.
No, I'm saying the mayor is before Jason Alexander.
Right.
Okay. All right.
All 3 of them are murdered, and I kept waiting for some wacky. They kind of come back around, and like somebody comes up out the rubble with like the dust and stuff on their face. Nope, all 3 of them are murdered. And I think this is very much an example of a by the numbers Wayans brothers product. I think this character that Damon Wayans plays, Blankman, is a version of that kind of I don't know if we're supposed to use the word spastic anymore, but
yeah, I don't think so.
But that kind of awkward like he has like 4 different versions of this character that he played throughout his tenure on In Living Color. He wheels it out every now and then, and the whole thing feels undercooked and lazy to me. Like they're like you had this idea of this character who's going to throw this stuff together, but there's no real follow through to it. Even what you talked about, where there's this underlying competence to what he puts together. Other guys' suit isn't bulletproof.
That's a fail.
You don't really get a sense of how he's putting this stuff together. Again, there's no actual attention paid to the ideas.
Oh, okay, but you never see that.
There's one fart joke, which now, knowing that it was adapted from a Fart Man script, I did say, wow, we've got dick jokes, we've got gay jokes, we've got little people jokes. Where are the fart jokes? And I did wonder about the fart jokes, because it really was like I played lowbrow bingo and I won, except there were no fart jokes. But now I know they avoided the fart jokes because they took all the fart jokes out because it was a Fart Man script.
Yeah. I don't think Larry dies.
Larry? Who?
The Jason Alexander's character.
He 100% dies.
When?
At the end, when they blow up the building. Remember, they can't pull him out? And other guy says, I'll remember you.
No, he's joking with them, because then when they go out the building, all of the bombs are in J5 and J5 blows up. Remember, he said,
so Jason Alexander doesn't die?
No, he doesn't die. Because remember, he said, like, do we have to tell him too? And he says, no.
I'm sorry. There are 2 murders.
Get your facts straight.
Yeah, get my facts straight about the 2 murders. I almost feel bad because I don't have much new to offer the critique of a Wayans brother. It's, if you can pull up everything that I always say, like, I absolutely adore the Wayans
Yes, yes.
I love the family. I love how they operate. I love their business acumen. I love how they produce things. If I was 10, this may have tickled me. I just thought it was lowbrow. I thought it was juvenile. I did not laugh. That's not true. I laughed one time. And I wrote down when there's a moment where the brothers go to see a psychiatrist, a court mandated psychiatrist, and David Allen Greer's character is talking about how his brother Damon Wayans' character is trying to fight crime, but of course, since Blankman is his secret identity, he pretends not to do it. So it looks like David Allen Greer's character is crazy. The psychiatrist says to Damon Wayans, "Is he always like that?" And Damon Wayans says, and I quote, "Yeah, it's like living with a swollen Gary Coleman." And that made me laugh because I had absolutely no idea what the joke was.
Because it's he's swolled up,
But how's Gary Coleman get into it?
A bigger,
like, what's the joke with Gary Coleman?
Because he looks like Gary Coleman. Because he looks like Gary.
How does he look like Gary Coleman?
Because he's black.
The joke makes no sense, but it was so out of nowhere. He said it's like living with a swollen Gary Coleman, and I laughed because I was like, "What is he talking about?"
I laughed one because I thought it was fun. I thought it was a funny line, and two, it's an even funnier line when you think of that it is Daryl, aka Blankman, saying a line because he doesn't seem like he has like that humor, but he does have the button.
Swollen. It's kind of like Pat Nixon in Black Dynamite called him a moon cricket.
But that's also the sense of his humor because he does a ill-timed joke with Robin Givens' character, again returning to the scene with the bombs, where he says he says, "Oh my God, we couldn't get the bombs, baby. I'll remember you." And then he starts to run out and he says, "No, that was a blank joke." That's his humor.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Nia Iman Smith wrote that I completely agree, Len. Watched Blankman about a year ago and was surprised how much I laughed out loud.
Hey, look.
Aaron Fry says the J5 bomb disposal mode gets me every time.
Look. I can stand
just a robot called J5.
Yes, I get it. And I admire the restraint that the robot didn't have an Afro wig.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I look, man, and you also touched on something.
Okay.
The reason why Batman 66 is not as fondly remembered anymore is because the world, including the fandom that took in that iteration of Batman firsthand, has turned the page on Batman, and they don't really celebrate that depiction of Batman so much anymore. They still they appreciate it. Mm-hmm. They appreciate it. A lot of them, that was their gateway into Batman, and they like nods to it, like the animated Batman, the Brave and the Bold, but it's not celebrated like that because you've turned the page on it. But if you go back and remember, but it's also because the people that fell in love with that Batman, they're older.
Right.
They've aged out of
Absolutely.
that. Blankman being a parody of superhero films, and specifically Batman 66,
mm-hmm.
I think there is something there for an adult to appreciate, but it's for a younger audience.
And that's where I disagree with you, though. Like, I think people who dismiss Batman 66 haven't actually watched it, because Batman 66 was razor sharp.
Yeah, well, the first two seasons.
The first two seasons were actual satire.
Okay.
What am I in? Am I in Bizarro World? Are you serious right
No,
now?
they were yeah, they were good. They were good.
No. They were razor sharp in their writing.
Wait, I'm not gonna go there.
Come on, man.
I'm not gonna go there.
Stop it.
I'm not gonna go there.
Stop it.
It was good.
No, it was
This
smart.
razor sharp. No. Get Smart was smart.
No. Get Smart was also smart.
And smarter and better.
Fine. Batman 66 was smart.
Okay.
Everyone was in on the joke. Everyone followed the joke to its logical conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone set up this bizarro world.
Yes. It was good.
Yes, it was thoughtful and smart. This was not. So this is almost like someone made a parody of Batman 66
Mm-hmm.
who never actually watched Batman 66. Like they heard about it. Like they said, boom, biff, pow. And they thought that's what Batman 66 was. But if you watched it, like I know you have, you just trying to defend this dumbass movie. You would know that this script wouldn't have gotten out of the gate in the third season of Batman.
No, I hear you. I hear you on that. I hear you on that. But
what?
I think in doing a parody of a satire, you're just going to make it an out and out comedy. And I think they did. And I think for the most part, they succeeded.
All right.
I'm not saying it's the greatest comedy since ever.
Since something else that came out immediately before. Look, man, I disagree.
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed Blankman.
You enjoyed Blankman, and I honestly, without sarcasm, enjoy when you enjoy things. I honestly do. I'm curious. Like I feel like I need to go watch it again and see if like Lil Kim or Nia Long is in it somewhere. Trying to figure it out. So I guess the question is,
yes, I would recommend.
You would recommend Blankman.
I would recommend people watch Blankman. Now, this is one of my recommendations with a bit of a caveat.
Oh no! Now you got caveats. Now it's caveats.
I got a bit of a caveat for recommending Blankman. I recommend Blankman for the cookout.
For the cookout.
It's for the cookout.
For the cookout.
To put it on at the cookout.
Cookout.
You know, everybody sitting around eating the burgers, chicken, and ribs. The kids running in and out. They'll catch a scene, and they'll sit down, and they'll all of a sudden sit in and take in Blankman. It's like, oh my God, it's funny. And they'll be laughing and joking.
Kids.
It's just for the kids, and everybody will remember. Oh, I remember Blankman. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, Robin Givens. Oh my God, it's Robin Givens. And they'll be laughing.
It's a communal experience.
It's a communal experience.
Adults maybe have some adult beverages.
See, your problem is, who did you watch Blankman with?
I watched it
by yourself. Exactly.
Because I do it for a film podcast where I pay attention,
and that's fine.
And I take it seriously and I take notes.
That's fine. But
it's kind of our whole shtick, actually.
But I
that's
think if you watch this film with, say, Adam, not Camille, because she's at that, that cynical teenager age. But with Adam, I think you might find him,
So a 6-year-old is a good audience.
Your 6-year-old. Yes, I think he might find some enjoyment.
How many premature ejaculation jokes I want to explain to my 6-year-old?
But you don't have to know that it's premature ejaculation. All you know is just somebody has a strange reaction to a woman kissing him. You don't have to know what it is. You don't.
I don't.
He could look like he's dancing.
He's
dancing.
He's just doing the dance.
He's got the hammer shoes on.
He's got the hammer shoes. Right. So that's your caveat. I should watch it with a child. That's your caveat. That's your thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up in a pelvic thrust. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what we're doing.
thought it was funny.
Like, look, man, I do.
I mean, he almost like, dude. At the end of the film, he spazzes.
They thought the joke was so funny that's the joke they ended with. If they were really funny, they should have wheeled out a brand new robot, and like his name should have been Randy. See, that would have impressed me.
Or a new edition.
Well, no, it's because it's a continuation of J5. So you got to continue from J5.
I know.
So
You're going to
Randy.
Randy. I knew where you were going with Randy.
Randy.
But if it's a new edition.
Right. I would not recommend this film. I would not recommend this film. I feel like there are better ways to spend an hour and 36 minutes.
Oh, sure.
Than watching that. I mean, that's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair. There's always better ways.
Always better ways. I wouldn't recommend this film. I didn't find it funny. I found the ideas weren't really thought out that well. They weren't really executed that well. I thought everybody, except Robin Givens. Like, I thought Robin Givens was a good sport.
She was a good sport.
In this, but, David Allen Grier, who I think is a phenomenal actor and performer, I think just sort of went through the motions. Lynn Thigpen was completely wasted.
She was wasted. I will say that.
And Damon Wayans, I think this is a speed that I often see Damon Wayans in his film work, where he's just sort of going like he just sort of goes through the motions. Like I'm thinking of the Damon Wayans films right now that I said Damon Wayans is doing work right. Like, I really like him in The Last Boy Scout.
That might be it. Well, no,
Bamboozled. I quietly like him. Oh, of course, Bamboozled. I quietly like him. What's the movie where he plays the sergeant?
Oh, I didn't see that one. Is that Major Payne? Major Payne, yeah.
I think he's surprisingly interesting in Major Payne.
I didn't see that.
Like, he's doing something different than we're taping the 5th season of In Living Color, and I'm only here because I'm contractually bound to be here. But like, my brother has quit, and he got, like, remember that season he was on? He just had to be on there.
Yeah.
I think he's at that speed in this film. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Sharon Eldridge says Major Payne was amazing. Aaron Fry, Blankman, and Pootie Tang for The Cookout.
Don't you besmirch the name of Pootie Tang.
Well, then you got a children's film, and then you got a film for the adults. I can go there. And Jeffrey Thomas is incredulous that Len likes this, but not Ghost Dog. I am confused.
You're a complicated man.
I am a complicated man, and I'm sorry, Ghost Dog. It just did not win me over.
Ghost Dog did not win you over, but maybe it wasn't enough pelvic thrust. Yeah. Stop doing that. We're trying to keep our rating on that.
The other guy was a better kung fu artist than the Ghost Dog.
Better, but that was actually part of the point, though. That Ghost Dog.
Well, okay.
Trying to inhabit this.
Well, he failed.
Yeah, we're not going. Right.
Okay. All right.
But listen to Lynn. Listen to Lynn.
Listen to me.
When in doubt, accentuate the positive.
That's right.
And Lynn doesn't oftentimes like things, so we when a rose grows in the concrete, we have to feed it and sustain it. So let's shine our sunshine on the rose growing through the cracks of the concrete.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Enough out of you. All right, somebody asking? We already answered that question. Go back earlier in the show, Pharaoh. When I'm going. Okay. Hey, if you like what you're hearing, check out the Michaud Mission podcast, ladies and gentlemen. 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. Go to MichaudMission.com. And check out all the cool swag that we have available for you by way of our good friends at T Public. You can leave us a voicemail, 215-867-9666. Tell Vincent and Len what is on your mind. Email the Micheaux Mission at micheauxmission@gmail.com, micheauxmission@gmail.com. Like and follow us on all the social medias at Micheaux Mission on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also subscribe to the Micheaux Mission at youtube.com/@Micheaux Mission. Subscribe. Check us out. We do this. We stream this every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And please give us a 5-star rating and a review, especially on Apple Podcasts, as we make our way to 200 reviews.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you very much. And don't forget, we are a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work. Okie dokie. And don't forget, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, the Micheaux Mission review is available in the feed right now. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't see it, go back to the feed. It's right there.
And remember, there are spoilers.
There are spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, don't listen to it yet. Watch the film. Then listen to the Black Panther, Wakanda Forever Micheaux Mission review, available right now in your podcast feed.
I thought it was a bit of a tonal shift when Garrett Morris shows up in the third act and he says, I am the Ant-Man. I have the powers of the ant.
Yes. Yeah.
I said, that's a bit of a deep cut.
That's a very deep cut
for Black superheroes, but it kind of messes.
But they made it work.
They made it work somehow.
They made it work.
Right.
They made it work.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they couldn't get the rights to Mal Duncan.
Yeah.
So they went with Garrett Morris's Ant-Man. All right. Next week here on the Micheaux Mission, it's Vincent's turn.
Yes, sir.
And Vincent claims that he has some high quality film for you next week.
I don't know how many pelvic thrusts are in it, so fair warning, folks.
Not enough for me. We're going to 2007, and we're returning to the world of Denzel Washington.
Yes, who we've not visited with
for a little bit, as he stars alongside Russell Crowe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Chiwetel Ejiofor. And blink and you miss him. Denzel didn't. Idris Elba. An American Gangster.
What you gonna do? Shoot me in the middle of the street? Pro tip: you probably should not ask a criminal who has a gun to your head, are you going to shoot me in the middle of the street?
Holding the gun to your head in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Because now you've kind of backed him into a corner.
Mm-hmm. In the middle of the street.
Right. Like you said, blink if you miss him, but Denzel did not miss him.
He did not miss him. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, where we have a big announcement. If you were watching the stream, you already know about it. But next week, we'll announce it to all of you out there listening. So definitely come back next week. Until then, he's Vince. I'm Len. In parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.